Hi everybody, welcome back to IELTS Helpline. We're doing some more pronunciation today. This is the last one this week. On Monday we did C and D words. Yesterday we did D and E, and today we're going to be doing F. And also we'll be doing a poem at the end. Nabi, who's been on every single session, reminds me every single time that we should do a poem. Well, today I've actually got one for you, so hopefully he'll be on and he can help do some pronunciation with us. But also if you'd like to join in and appear on the screen and do some pronunciation with us, just leave a comment in the box and we'll definitely get to it and you'll have the chance to come on. Other than that, I'm Laura and I'm an English teacher in Liverpool, and I'm with IELTS Helpline Merseyside Publishing to bring you pronunciation lessons. It's really just about being helpful to you. So if you have any suggestions of things that you'd like to see or things that you think you would find helpful or other people would find helpful, please send us a message and just let us know. We found last week, well, we've done 2 sessions before this that have both been 3 hours long. Good morning, Mahesh. We found that the 3-hour long sessions were maybe a little bit long for people because their phones were overheating while they were trying to watch, and maybe also just people's concentration as well can't really last that long, understandably. So we've decided to make 3 one-hour sessions on Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10:30 and 11:30 GB time. But it has been suggested that we do 2 1.5-hour sessions instead. So it's just really what you find the most useful. It's a lot to get through in 1 hour, I think, but we'll have a go. Thank you, Mudassir. Thank you for saying I'm doing great. Really nice of you. Hi. So, okay, should we get on with some F words then? I'll try and shrink my screen down so you don't have to see my face. Okay, let's get started. So today we'll be doing F words. We start with facilitate, facilitate, facilitate. That's the verb facilitate, which is to make an action easier. So I might facilitate you guys to pass your test. That would mean to make it easier to pass that test. So fairly easy one. Hi everybody who's saying good morning. Hi Fatima. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, so facilitate, that's our first one. Next we have faculty. Faculty. Now a little bit tricky, faculty. The noun, I think, because of that C. So the French word, I don't know if anybody's familiar with French, but if you are, you'll probably know the word facile, which means easy. So you can see how the word facilitate comes from facile, the French word, meaning easy, because to facilitate is to make an action easier. Faculty is that C is just that little bit different. So where that one is a C and S sound, this one is more of a K sound, faculty. So if I was going to write that out phonetically for you, it would be faculty, faculty. So there's 2 different definitions there for faculty. We have the top one is a mental or a physical power. So you might have great learning faculties, which means you have great mental power to learn. Or you could have a group of university departments. So for example, Faculty of the Arts would be those departments that cover, you know, English, art, architecture, history, whatever. So it's either a mental or a physical power is your faculty, or you can have a faculty of university, department, science, whatever. So I think that one's fairly easy. It's just getting to grips with that different C sound, I think. Yeah, okay. So move on to our next one. Our next one is favourable. Favourable. And it's an adjective. It means preferable. So obviously you can see where the root word is from favour, which is to do something for somebody else without that being necessary, a favour. Which also goes into favourite. A common misspelling is without the U, so like that, or like that is wrong. So just be aware that it does need that U in it. There's some other root words that can come from favour. So we have favour, favourite, favourable, favourable of course being the adjective. Okay. So I think we're comfortable with that one. Next, we have feminist, feminist, feminist. So that's the noun, which is somebody who advocates for women's equality to men. Okay, so that comes from feminine. Just the prefix fem means woman anyway, pertaining to women. We have femininity. That's a tricky one. Femininity. Do we have any others? Feminine, fem, femininity, feminist. I think that's it. So you can see how that prefix fem pertains to women. So we have feminist, a person who advocates for women's rights. Feminine, which is traditionally womanly. And femininity, which is the quality of being feminine, of having those womanly qualities. Hi Gaznavi, I can see everybody's messages. Yes, we'll be getting around to English speaking, so that hopefully you can pass that IELTS test. I've had favourite is US English. Yeah, that's correct. So OR without the U is American spelling of that word, but it is pronounced the same. So favourite with a U for English, and without a U for American. But just be aware, that's a really good rule of thumb, is the American tends to get rid of that U sound. So we also have, as well as favourite and favourite, we also have colour. Oops. And colour. So you can see how it's underlined that in red there, because that's not the English spelling. So they tend to get rid of the U, yeah. So thank you, Mahesh. You're right. Okay. I think that's it. Gaznabi, if you're watching, I've got a couple of slides at the end of the PowerPoint with the poem on that you've asked for. You asked me to do a poem so many times, and I've finally got one for you. So hopefully you'll enjoy that at the end. If everybody wants to stick around, I have it, each stanza of the poem on a different PowerPoint slide, so that a couple of people can have a go if they're interested. So if you are interested in that, please just leave me a comment, and I'll pop the link in the description so that you can just copy and paste that and join the live stream, okay? Okay, let's move on. Next we have fever, 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 which is the noun. It's a high body temperature accompanied by shivering and feelings of nausea, which in itself is a tricky word. I know we're doing F words today, but just nausea by itself, to be honest. I'll try and make that a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. Yeah, nausea. So phonetically, you're looking at gnaw, and then it's a sort of voiced S sound. That's maybe as well as I can phonetically write it out for you. Nausea. So it's almost like a Z. This one's almost like a Z. Maybe even nausea. Nausea, like that. It's like that Z sound. So anyway, fever is a high body temperature accompanied by shivering and feelings of nausea. Difficult spelling as well, I think, of nausea. So even I think a lot of people would struggle with that one. So if it wasn't your go-to pronunciation, don't worry about that. Let's move on. The next one is fiber. 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 It's a noun. It means like a small thread. So like a piece of string is made up of many different fibers. Fiber. And then you also just have root words that are coming from that, like fibrous, which would mean a material that is made up of a lot of small threads. So, for example, silk wouldn't strike me as particularly fibrous. It'd be more like, wool or knitted fabric. Okay. Then we have fierce, fierce, fierce. So I feel like that one is maybe pronounced as it is spelled, maybe not as tricky, that one, fierce. That's the adjective, meaning scary and powerful. Yeah, fierce. Okay. Next one is firearm. Firearm, which is typically a gun, usually a portable gun, but really easy to pronounce, provided that you just recognise that that's two words joined into one, fire and arm. Don't try and pronounce this EA sound. So even though it looks like it'd be obvious, firearm, if you tried to pronounce these two together as a sort of E sound, A sound, I'm not sure that would work that well. So firearm, noun, meaning a gun. Okay, and we also have flavour, flavour. And Mahesh, this is another one of those examples where that'd be the American spelling without that U again. So that'd be the American one. Just for you. You can see there it's underlined there for me because that's not the British spelling. So flavour is the noun, meaning the taste of something. So flavour, almost as if I suppose it's pronounced flavour, flavour, yeah. Okay. So move on. So quite a few more before we get to the poem, let's see. So I'd just like to remind everybody as well, I'd just like to remind everybody as well that please feel free to add in any words that you're struggling with, and whether they're F words or not, just leave a comment in the box with the word that you're struggling with or any questions that you have, and I'll definitely get to them for you. And make sure throughout the week that you're saving any that you are finding difficult that you come across, because if you save them up, then we can get through them all on Monday and answer your questions about them. So yeah, Mahesh, yeah. So they try to take out the U in such cases. Yeah, obviously it's not every single word that they take the U out of. But for whatever reason, they've adapted the spelling to have without a U. So if you do see that, it's not necessarily a spelling mistake. It might be just from an American text. And like I say, any words that you struggled with, we had some really difficult ones yesterday. And to be honest, everybody always, makes really good suggestions, and it's helpful for me to know, because then next time I'm picking words for us to go through, I know what sort of words people are struggling with. So then we have, oh, we skipped over that one, didn't we? Then we have floor. Can everybody see that okay? I'll make that a little bit bigger. So floor is the noun, which means a problem or an imperfection. So you might have flaws in your skin. That would be, blemishes, spots, whatever. Flaw, yeah. Or you could have flaws in your character, which would mean maybe you have a characteristic or a personality trait that's not very nice. Or there can be flaws in anything, flaws in a plan as well as a typically used phrase, flaw in the plan. Yeah, so flaw, the noun, flaw, problem or imperfection. Then we have flexibility. Flexibility, which is a noun. It's the ability to bend without breaking. So a person can be flexible. Of course, a person doesn't typically break. They just don't bend anymore. But a person who is flexible can make a lot of, different movements, or a wide range of movement without hurting themselves. Fatima, thank you for commenting. So she's asked, is there any difference in pronunciation between these two words in context of pronunciation? So we have father and further. Tricky. So luckily they're F words as well, which is good. So we have father. Oh, what's wrong with my typing today? Further. And we also have father. So we'll touch on that one as well. So farther meaning more far away, as in distance. Further, which can mean either in addition to, or to continue. So and then father is just somebody's dad. So just to go through that, father and the first one and father the second one are pronounced the same, father. But further, you can hear that U sound, further. If you envision it like the word fair or fair, further. And in that one, it's literally just far, farther. Okay. So farther, further, farther. All different meanings. Obviously, really try hard not to misspell those, because they can get confused easily, and they have such different meanings. Okay, then we have these three really tricky ones. Thank you for suggesting them. So we have Nostalgic, which is the feeling of being sentimental and fond of a memory. You have nostalgic, so you might be nostalgic about something in your childhood, typically nostalgic. Then we have bewildered, which is to mean confused and almost even scared, really confused and disordered, bewildered. And the last one is hectic, hectic, hectic. And hectic means, again, disordered, out of place. Yeah, so hectic and bewildered are slightly related words, because you would be bewildered about hectic circumstances, chaotic circumstances, but I wouldn't be hectic. Something else is hectic and I'm bewildered about it. You wouldn't typically say that people are hectic. Tends to mean, yeah, like disordered, disorganized. Bewildered is more, frightened, scared, confused. So slightly different meanings, but definitely interlinked. So just be aware of that. You wouldn't say a person was hectic. Okay. Okay, so we have some more F1s. Thank you. We have facet. So tricky one, especially after we've done the likes of where is it? Faculty and facilitate. You have got that C sound. Let's get back up to this slide and just delete that so that we can see a bit better. I'll make it bigger maybe. Yeah. Sorry if you can hear that. There's people doing work next door. So the first one, facet, is like a part or aspect of something. So you'd say, I have, there are nice facets to the job, which would mean there are nice aspects, nice parts. The next one that we have is fastidious. Let me just take that out. Yeah, okay, so there we go. So fastidious is when somebody is particularly paying attention to detail, concerned about detail. It's a good trait to have. It's a good facet of somebody is to be fastidious. Okay, and the last one, quite an unusual word. I think slightly misspelt there. So I'll just, can I make that bigger? Yeah. That last one should be flabbergasted. That L there. Can I highlight that? Yeah. So flabbergasted there. So I think you may have just missed the L out of that one. It's flabbergasted. Quite an unusual word there, I think. It just means to be shocked. Shocked and surprised about something, usually not in a negative sense. So you'd be flabbergasted about maybe the price of something, or an announcement that somebody has made, whatever it is, flabbergasted. Yeah, I think that's everybody's that we've covered. We'll finish off these F words and then we'll get onto the poem. So we have flourish, the verb, which means to develop, usually in a vigorous way and an energetic and positive way to develop. So a personality would flourish which would mean you're becoming more confident and a better person. Footage, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. It's the noun, which is like a video recording. Yeah, footage. Then we have foreigner. It's that tricky EI, I think, foreigner. The noun, somebody who's not native to a country, a foreigner. So we would maybe, if we were going to phonetically spell it, we'd go for just the I, foreigner, and that G is silent, so foreigner. But do remember that that's not how it's spelled. Type that out, foreigner. So don't forget that G is silent, and that I sounds a lot like an I, foreigner. Then we have fortunate, which is an adjective. The meaning is favoured with good luck. Again, Mahesh, we'd have favoured without the U, or in the British spelling with the U. Fortunate, the adjective, favoured with good luck. Then we have fragile, the adjective, which means liable to break or weak. So, for example, you might have glass or a surface which is fragile, which is liable to break away, but also it can mean weak. So I could feel pretty fragile, which would mean that I might feel emotionally sensitive. That would mean I'm feeling fragile. Yeah. Or as well, people in the colloquial sense and the informal slang sense can say I feel fragile and mean that they're hungover, they've drunk too much alcohol. So just be aware of that meaning as well, fragile. And Mahesh has just commented flabbergasted is somewhat similar to astonished, correct? Yeah. So another good word for it. And I'd actually say that astonished is more commonly used than flabbergasted. And flabbergasted is almost ironically used, to be honest. Yeah, so thank you for pointing that out. It's similar to astonished. Okay. Then we have franchise, which again I think maybe is a bit more self-explanatory than some of our other words. A group or business who are authorised to carry out particular commercial activities, franchise. You know. Then we have fraud, which I think if we were going to put the phonetic spelling would be fraud. So again, that's not how you spell it, but it's just maybe to help to get that AU, because we all know in English the AU can have so many different pronunciations of it, and it's good to just have something to go off as something that you're familiar with. Fraud is the noun, meaning wrongful or criminal deception, usually intended to result in financial gain. So you can see the word there, fraudulent, which would refer to, it's the adjective to refer to something which is intended to result in financial gain through wrongful or criminal deception. So you can fraudulently claim money. That would be wrongfully against the law. Okay, and we have somebody has commented prejudice, which is to prejudge. Oh gosh, the laptop then. So prejudice, prejudge. We have, let me see. I'm going to go on to that one, but we do have prejudice and prejudge. We have also, you've suggested precisely, which is specific or exact, precisely, exactly. And then we have speculation, which is to make a guess about something that is not yet proven, to speculate. Guess. So I might, for example, speculate about your age, which would mean I'd guess that you're 20. Speculate. So we had prejudice, precisely, speculation, yeah. And oh, you might come across as well speculative, which means that something is not yet proven. Okay. Now we'll go on to frequent, the adjective, which means occurring several times at short intervals. Frequent. Fulfill, which is the verb to satisfy or complete. I have fulfilled my dream of becoming a teacher. Fulfill. Maybe that's one of those ones that you just need to really practice and sorry, take that off. Fulfill. Maybe just practice that one at home, because it's those two short sounds together, full and fill, which I think can it takes a while for them to roll off the tongue, you know, and to sound natural. So just practice that one at home, maybe as we're going along. Fulfill. Then we have furious. This is our last F word now, furious, which is the adjective. It means like really very angry, furious. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too quick for the rest of you, and we went through those slowly enough. But do just let me know if you have any more questions about them, and we'll definitely get to it. So one last question. So how are speculation and apprehension different in meaning? Okay, thank you for asking this. So speculation is when you've speculated about something, is to make a guess about it, which is not proven and therefore shouldn't be, I don't want to say publicized, but for example, I can't say you are 30 years old and then go around and tell everybody Mahesh is 30, because I've only speculated about that. And speculative information is not reliable information. Okay, and then apprehension is understanding. So I might speculate about your age, and then later on, when you've told me what age you actually are, I would apprehend that you were actually 25 or whatever it is. Okay, so speculation is one thing, that's making a guess about something, and apprehension is another thing, that's understanding something, to apprehend. Apprehend can also mean to catch. That's not the typical meaning. So apprehend is to understand. My apprehension of something is my understanding of something. And speculation is a guess, something that's not yet proven. Yeah. So hope that one's okay for you. Apprehension and speculation. Really good question. Thank you, Mahesh. And anybody else who's got any more that they are a little bit worried about, don't be afraid to just leave a comment for me and we will get back to it. Okay, so now maybe we'll move on to some poetry. This is for you, Ghaznavi, if you'd like to come on. We're going to be doing a poem called Kubla Khan, which is by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He was a poet in the 18th and 19th century in England. This is one of the most famous poems in the English language. It's a favourite of mine, and yeah, it's just a really, really beautiful poem. We won't go through the meaning or anything. That's really besides the point. But I think poetry can be really helpful to people who are learning pronunciation, just because you've got that rhythm of the words, and in good poetry, the rhythm should always match the syllables and the word, and also the rhyme scheme can help to pronounce words that you're unsure about. So where the end of the line rhymes, you might be able to apprehend what the pronunciation of that word would be based on the rhyming couplet or whatever rhyming line it is. So I've popped that link to come on in the description. Ghaznavi is going to join us. I think I've seen in his comment. But anybody else who'd also like to join in and do a stanza with us, I'd be really happy to have you on screen with us. It'd be lovely to have an extra person on. But at the same time, if you don't feel confident, that's completely understandable. So it is quite a tricky poem in the sense of there's some words in the poem which aren't conventionally used in English, and maybe you haven't come across before. But we all know, if you've been watching these live streams for a while, that Ghaznavi is quite confident, and he knows what he's talking about. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with with this. So I'll bring him on now, and like I say, anybody else who would like to join us, please feel free to just click that link. Okay. Hi.
Hey Laura, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, fine too. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
So have you heard the poem Kubla Khan before?
No.
No? Okay, so this should be, it's fresh for you then. There's I think
Okay.
5 sentences that I've put in the PowerPoint.
Okay.
So have a go. If you're struggling, no big deal. We'll go through it
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Bring it on. Okay. In Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where all the secret river ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea, so twice 5 miles of fertile ground, with walls and towers were guarded ground, and there were gardens bright with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery.
Beautiful, Ghaznavi. That was so well read. I really thought that you'd struggle with those first couple of lines. But that was so well
Yeah.
read. Yeah, so he's quite right. In
Okay.
Xanadu did
Thank
Kubla
you.
Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alf the sacred river ran, through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. So twice 5 miles of fertile, that word there's fertile,
Yeah,
meaning
fort.
yeah, rich in nutrients, with walls and towers were girdled round, girdled,
Girl.
um,
Okay.
and there were gardens bright with, this word is sinuous,
Sinuous. Okay.
sinuous, yeah, sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense-bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Isn't that a beautiful poem? Anybody who's watching, you must
Yeah.
admit that's beautiful. Okay,
Yeah, that is
next.
so beautiful. Okay. Meadow, the deep romantic chasm which is slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place as holy and enchanted as ere beneath a waning moon was haunted by women waiting for her demon lover, and from his chasm with his ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast, thick pants were beating, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid whose swift half-intermitted burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chafy grain beneath the thresher's flail, and mild these dancing rocks at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river.
Beautiful, beautifully read. So we'll go through this one. But oh, that deep romantic. This one is chasm, chasm, without that H sound. So like a K, as if it's pronounced Kasm, chasm. But oh, that deep romantic chasm, which slanted down the green hill athwart a cedarn cover, a savage place, as holy and enchanted as e'er beneath the waning moon was haunted by a woman wailing for a demon lover. And from this chasm, again chasm,
Chasm.
with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast thick pants were breathing, a mighty fountain momently was forced, amid those swift half-intermitted bursts, huge fragments vaulted like rebounding hail, or chafy grain beneath the thresher's flail, and mid these dancing rocks, at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. Beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay. 5 miles, meandering with amazing motion, through wood and dale the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless to man, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult Kubla had heard from far ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of dome of pleasure floated midway on the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare device, a sunny pleasure dome with caves of ice.
Beautiful. Again,
You're so
so we
beautiful
had
too.
5 miles. This
Uh,
word is meandering.
Meandering.
Perfect. Meandering with
Mm,
amazing motion through wood and
mm,
dale, the sacred river ran, then reached the caverns measureless command,
mm.
and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. And mid this tumult, Kubla heard from afar ancestral voices prophesying war. The shadow of
Prophesizing.
dome pleasure. What did you say? Sorry.
No, prophesying.
Yeah, comes from prophecy. Yeah, so prophesizing
No, prophesizing not.
come from prophecy.
Prophesying, yeah.
That's correct. I'll just pop that on the screen for anybody who's unsure about that word. We have prophecy there.
Yeah.
Prophecy. Okay. Where were we up to? Floated midway. On the waves, where was heard the mingled measure from
Yeah.
the fountain and the caves. It was a miracle of rare divine, a stunning pleasure dome with caves of
It's
ice.
about nice. Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
then we have
Okay. A damsel with a dulcimer. In a vision once I saw. It was an Abyssinian maid, and on her deep dulcimer she played, singing of Mount Abora. Could I retrieve within me her symphony and song to such a deep delight told in me, that with music loud and long.
beautiful. So as you can probably tell, this is half a stanza here because I couldn't fit it on the page basically.
Yeah,
But he was quite right. A damsel with a dulcimer, that's a little
yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
In a vision once I saw, it was an Abyssinian maid, and on her
Maid,
dulcimer she
and
played,
so I should play.
singing of Mount
Mount
Abora.
Abora.
Could I revive,
Revive.
revive,
Yeah.
revive there? Within me, her symphony and song, to such a deep delight 'twould win me, that with music loud and long.
Mhm. Okay. I would build that dome in air, that sunny dome, those caves of ice, and all who heard should see them there, and all should cry, beware, beware. His flashing eyes, his floating hair, weave a circle around him thrice, and close their eyes with the holy dread, for he on honey dew hath fed, and drunk the milk of paradise.
So Mahesh has not enjoyed this poem. This poem
Okay,
reminded me
bring
of
it
my
on.
school days when I used to struggle to understand the meaning of poems, not my cup of tea. Well, you know what? Each to their own, Mahesh. Not everybody's into poetry, and I appreciate your honesty about it. Um, just if anybody is interested in the meaning of the poem, basically, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, who you can see on the screen there. I've just popped a picture of him on. There he is. Let's make him a bit
Okay.
bigger there. He was addicted to opium, which you
Oh,
probably know is the like rare the raw form of heroin that people know of these days. He was also an alcoholic for a time, and he fell asleep one night in an opium-induced state, kind of like a sort of lucid dream, and he dreamt this poem. So he fell asleep and he dreamt of Kubla Khan, which is this place that he envisions in the poem. Somebody's done like an artistic representation of it there. Um,
mhm.
and when he woke up, he immediately picked up a pen and wrote down the poem as he dreamt it in this drug induced state. And he wrote the poem from start to finish, no editing or anything, supposedly. And that's the poem is Kubla Khan. So the poem's just about um, seeing this amazing place, this beautiful, imaginative place in his dream, and never in his real life without drugs, being able to return to that place, that imaginative state, but also the physical place as well, Kubla Khan. So hopefully that's shed some light. I think it's really interesting. But if you don't, that's fine. You don't have to do poems all the time.
Yeah,
Just that
yeah.
Gus Harvey is quite a fan, I believe. And
Thank you.
where is he? There he is. Did you find that helpful at all, or was that a silly exercise?
Really helpful. Really.
Good. I'm glad somebody found use of it. If I just bring that up, somebody has asked the pronunciation of this one. Here it is. So this word that Coleridge has put in here is dulcimer. Dulcimer. So you might dulcimer like that. That might help you to pronounce it. Thank you for sending that question. Yeah, so dulcimer is like the little guitar that you can see the girl playing in the photo. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Oh gosh, where have you gone? Gasnaby's gone. Okay, well, I didn't really get a chance to say goodbye, but thank you, Gasnaby, for joining us for the poem. Hopefully that's been helpful for a couple of people. I just feel like it's maybe a little bit more interesting than me just saying the same word over and over again and then giving the meaning of the word. I thought it was maybe something a little bit different. And yeah, a bit more interesting than me just repeating the same words over and over again, which I don't have a problem with, of course. But I'm just trying to keep people engaged, and I understand, it can get a little bit boring sometimes. So don't worry, Mahesh, we won't be making this a regular thing of a poem every week. If people haven't found it helpful, there's no point in going through it anyway. Maybe just me and Ghaznavi will make our own little chat for poems. Sorry, excuse me, my voice goes so funny speaking for so long. Yeah, so I think we've covered the F words for today, and we've been through the poem as well. So that's really all I wanted to get done, and I had scheduled for this lesson. But if anybody has any words that they'd like to just quickly go through before we end the broadcast, we have 7 minutes left. So get your words in now, and we'll get through as many as we can before I finish up. The next lesson will be Monday at 10:30 to 11:30 British time. I've seen in a couple of the comments that we have people from further and further away in the world at the moment who have been joining us, which is really lovely to see. So when I refer to the times of the lessons, I am just talking about GB time because it doesn't really suit to be able to say, oh, it's such and such a time for this country, because we have people from all over the world who are trying to catch this live stream. So hopefully it's been of an convenient time for you all. If it hasn't, again, just let me know and we'll try to get around to it. Yeah, so Mahesh, do you have a YouTube channel as well? If not, why don't you start one? I believe that the company that I'm with, IELTS, do have a YouTube channel. I've never personally made a video. Do you mean me personally? If that's something I'll consider, if there was enough people who wanted to watch it, on English pronunciation, I assume you mean. I don't really have an awful lot of confidence to do these things, so I've never really thought about it, to be honest. But if you feel like it might be helpful and people would like to see it or people would watch it, then I'd definitely consider starting one. Just let me know what sort of things you'd like to see on the page, and I'll consider it, or I'll at least pass it on to my boss, and maybe he'll have some of his other teachers make a YouTube account. I don't know if anybody's watched any of the other tutors from this company just yet, but I do believe there's quite a couple of other tutors starting, which maybe might do some lessons that other people might be interested in. Yeah, just let me know what you mean, if you mean, you know, me personally, or if you mean IELTS helpline. I think they do already have one, but I've never made a video for them. Oh gosh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so we haven't had any words just yet, but we only have a couple of minutes left. We only have 4 minutes left, so we'll see how many words that we can get through next time. I'm not sure what we'll be able to get through, because we got through all of the F words really easily today, really no problem getting through those. So maybe we could start to take on 2 lots of the alphabet each session. Let me know if you think that that would be going through them too quickly, because I don't mind taking it as slow as people need. Just let me know and get back to me about it. And any questions that you have this week, please feel free to message the page. If you just address your question to Laura, I'll be able to find your message and reply to you. But if you don't put to Laura, you might just hear back from another one of our tutors that has access to the page. So if it's for me directly, don't forget to just address it to me. Yeah, so if we don't have any more words that anybody's struggling with, we can just leave it here. I don't want to bore people with me just talking for 3 more minutes. So yeah, I'll give everybody maybe 1 more minute to see if they do have any words they like pronouncing before I go. And if not, I'll see you all again on Monday. Hopefully you all have a lovely week, and keep practicing as well, particularly when we did fulfill. I think that's a really common word and easy to get into normal conversation. So maybe just go through them and make sure that you're practicing some of the words that we've gone through. Make a note of ones that you're struggling with, and you can always, don't forget, you can re-watch this video and all of our other videos on the IELTS helpline page, Facebook page. Just go to the page, you can watch it back, hear me say it over and over and over again if it helps. Everybody knows repetition is the way to keep it in your memory. Keep using your vocabulary, and thank you everybody who has sent me any words to practice today. Any comments, any questions, your engagement is really, really valuable, and I'm really so thankful for everybody joining in. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mahesh, for your time and effort. More like everybody who's joined in, Fatima, Ghaznavi, everybody, Mariam, everybody who's joined in. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you all next week, hopefully. And yeah, I'll see you then. It's been lovely to have you all. Bye, everybody.